everyone. Welcome back to another episode and another season of the 5% Club. I am your host, Maria Mejia, aka the Imported Accountant. And with me is the fantastic, amazing Panastic business coach, David Pataki. Welcome, David.
Hey, how's every? Hey, sorry, I just cut you off there. I'm so excited to be back on the podcast. I know we're into the new season now, so I'm really looking forward to it. And in this season, we've amped it up a bit more. So if you were here in the past season, sorry, you'll see that maybe we're a little bit we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to hit a little bit harder, but we're all here to make sure that you join us in the 5% Club. There's lots of ways to do that, but we're going to give you a step by step, and we're just going to help you build your business to the level you thought of but only dreamed of. And we're here to help you all along the way.
100%. And, David being the master business coach, as it were, he's a fount of knowledge because he has worked with over 700 businesses, and as a lifelong entrepreneur, he's been a part of many different types of businesses, not just business coaching, but also with like social media marketing, print marketing, and he's just fantastic to be able to share all of that. So as I like to say is make sure you have your pen and paper ready, take lots of notes, and that is the first step of being part of the 5% Club. But before we go too deeply into, new year, new you, David, you want to give us a little introduction of who you are, any other information I might have missed of who is Mr. Panastic Business Coach?
Well, the Panastic, we've talked about this, in the previous season. The dad joke that comes my way. It's funny, when I'm pressed to do a joke on the spot, it's not always on the tip of my tongue. It's usually one of those, during conversation. It always seems to happen specifically when the kids are around because they say something that, that makes it easy just to roll off, some sort of bad dad joke. Love my kids, love being a father, as being a father to the kids. I also feel the same sort of wanting to help business owners because, I've hit the roadblocks. I've went into the big potholes. I've seen the challenges. I felt the pain, the long nights, all that fun stuff. But I'm here to help you try to avoid that. Like you may have already hit those, but I'm here to help you get through those, or maybe even, God willing, to avoid them all together because we're here to help, right? Like as business owners, we're a special breed of people. Well, we think differently. We have different motivations. We're not about the 9 to 5, follow the rules, punch the clock, do just enough to keep your job, not getting fired. That's not us. Us as lifelong entrepreneurs, or maybe you're not a lifelong entrepreneur. Maybe you're just getting into it. That's fantastic. But that drive for you is in there to say, you know what? I want to play by different rules. I want to grab life by the horns, and I'm going to steer it in the direction I want to go. And that's, congratulations if you're there, or if you've been on that journey for a while. Thank you for being there right now, because that means you're still going, you're still moving along. And that's really what, we're all about here, to help you continue to move along and help your business grow beyond your wildest dreams. Because honestly, you can get there. I know you see the ceilings, or you've hit the ceilings. You say, you know what, there's only 18 hours in the day that I can work. But guess what? There are smarter ways. There are different ways and different strategies that you can set up where you don't have to work the 18 hours. In fact, you could probably get it down to like your normal 8 hour, maybe 10 hour day, but you're making just as much or probably more money, and you'll be less stressed if you continue to come with us along this journey that we're going to set out for you over this next season.
100%, 100. And something else I like to throw in there, even though I may not be the Panastic business coach like David, I personally, whenever me and my husband are, just chatting around, we'll start quoting movie things. So I may or may not throw in a movie line or two. That's my version of dad jokes. And also, like being an entrepreneur, like David said, like sometimes you might be a serial entrepreneur. I know a few people that are like that. Or a lifelong entrepreneur, you're, one business from pretty much birth and you've done that your entire life. Or you may be like me. You might have grown up thinking, you're 100% an employee type of person, but then thrown into an opportunity of becoming an entrepreneur. No matter what stage in life you are or what kind of personality you might think you are, everyone has that little entrepreneur kind of drive inside them. It depends on really who you are and what you're comfortable with. And, we're here to help all kinds of people in their entrepreneur journey, as well as, all different races, genders, creeds, all of the above. We just want to help you grow and expand and just pretty much explode that business dream that you have.
Oh,
So,
awesome. Well, way to say that, Maria. I just want to say, one thing. We are going to build on, each episode's going to build on each other. So if you happen to, I mean, you're at the beginning of this season, so good on you. And if you're coming back from, 2 or 3 episodes ahead, and you've come back because you realize you need to start at the beginning, this is a special shout out to you. This is for the future you. So good for you. There we
ask
go.
you if you're coming back to this episode after listening to other
Back
ones.
to the future.
Time,
Back to the
depending
Future.
of time
One of
and
my
space.
favorite movies or
For sure.
series and trilogies. I guess it's
I
a trilogy.
I don't know what it is. Too many of them. Anyway, so speaking of future, since this is, episode 1 of season 2, start of a new year as well. This is January. Well, will be January by the time we release this. Let's talk about, starting off on the right foot for you and your business. So, David, a lot of people, when it comes to starting New Year's resolutions, the number one thing that people always think of first is, what's your goal going to be? In your opinion, what should actually be the number one thought in your mind before you start making a plan?
Great question, Maria. Thank you for putting that out there for me. Yeah, so like this is the time of year you're thinking about the new year, as Maria said. A lot of people, they have personal goals that they set that they want to achieve, whether it's to lose some weight or change your diet or change some sort of habit. But a lot of the times it's just a life, or it's a 1 year kind of thing. By the end of the year, I want to be whatever, right? Lose 20 pounds. But they forget a couple of things. They forget that they need to put milestones in there. But when it comes to your business, this is so important. I want to take you back. I mean, if you've been an entrepreneur or you've been working on this business for any bit of period of time, I want to take you back. I want you to put your brain in reverse for just a minute. Go back to when you started the business and say, why did I start this business? What was it that I wanted from this business? Okay. And that'll help you understand again what it is that you want. It's not that New Year's resolution. This is, what do I want my business to look for or look at? And,
Or business to
what
be?
do I want my business to look like is what I'm trying to say. A little tongue twister here, but I swear I have nothing to drink. Those are one
Yeah.
of the things I did this year. I have not had any alcohol now for 10 months. Not that I had any kind of issue there. I just thought, you know what, it's time to get healthier. And that was one of the things that I cut out of my diet. But what I want you to do is the little red dot, when you go to the mall or when you go to a walking trail, you go to that big map and you find the little red dot because you want to know where you are. Because you need to find out where you are in your life, in your business. So once you've figured out exactly where you are, now you want to identify, where do you want to go? What do you want your business to look like? Whether it's 5 years or 10 years, it needs to be a far enough away goal that you can go, okay, what is it that I want? I want to be earning, is it $5,000 a month? Is it $10,000 a month? What is it that you want to be earning at that time, let's say it is, 5 years from now that you want to be earning $10,000 a month. You want to have, so you want to, maybe you want to put what vehicle do you want to drive? Where do you want to be living? You want to have these things figured out in your mind. Where do like, do you still want to be living in the same area? Or do you want to be living down south and running your business remotely? You need to have this all figured, not all figured out down, point by point by
Down to the
point, but you
detail.
need to have the idea of that's what you want from your business. Because if you don't do that, you will never, ever, I don't care what you say, you will never, ever get there if you don't know what it is that you want. There's a saying about if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horror. It's an interesting saying, but if you think about it, it's absolutely true. If most businesses, and don't feel bad because most people do this. They just get into their business. They want to do whatever it is. They're good at it. They have a passion for it. They get into it and they go, yeah, you know what? They've got that, sort of entrepreneurial dream that most of us have when we start, financial freedom and, being able to be my own boss. Those are kind of the two kind of big things that people say, more time off kind of thing. But what does it look like exactly? Do you want 6 weeks off every year? Do you want 3 months off a year? Like if you don't have that, you don't know how to build the business to make sure that happens. And that's what we want to get at here. If you think about, most of us can relate to the landing on the moon. Well, it just didn't happen. NASA just didn't say, you know what, we're going to go into space. And if we land on the moon, great. That's not what they did. In fact, back on May 25th, 1961, 8 years before they landed on the moon, John F. Kennedy, the president of the United States at the time, made a declaration out there that says, we are going to put an American on the moon by the end of the decade. So now they know, okay, they were specific. They're going to put an American man on the moon by the end of the decade. So that gives them 9 years. They knew by 9 years they were going to put the man on the moon. Now they just didn't do that and just, sit back and follow whatever road. They knew what the goal was. So they said, okay, if I want to get the man on the moon, what do I need to do? Well, I got to make sure, um, how is he going to get there? Well, he's going to go on a rocket, right? So that rocket has to withstand takeoff. It needs enough fuel or power to get off and fight the gravity, get off the earth. So we got to work on that. There needs to be some sort of communication between us and the rocket ship. There needs to be training. There needs to be all these things figured out. So they were able to go back from 1970 as the end of, well, if you want to get technical, December 31st, 1969 was actually the end of the decade, but they could work back from that saying, okay, if we want the man on the moon, when do we have to have the rocket ready? When do we have to do the test launching? When do we have to do the tests for the engines? When do we start the training? When do we figure out the communications? All these things are able to sort of work backwards from so they can make sure they got that to work. How does that sound for you, Maria?
That is 100%. So kind of to summarize all that jargon that David's kind of spewed out at us is, go back to when you started your business, figure out your why. Why did you start your business? Are those goals still the same? Have you reached some of them? If you have, good for you. If you haven't reached them, figure out maybe why you haven't reached them, and then figure out where you are in your journey. Are you still at the very beginning of your business? If so, that's okay. Are you maybe halfway through? Even more fantastic. Figure out where you are and your goals, and then start creating those milestones. So your goal is to be financially free, to be able to kind of put yourself on payroll, quote unquote, as it were, $10,000 every month. Figure out, okay, well, how many clients do I need? How many do I need to get every month, every year, blah, blah, blah. create those milestones and you'll be able to reach those goals. It's pretty much what David has spewed out at us.
Actually, you did bring up the one thing that I didn't touch on was the who. Who's going to help you get there? And you need to think about the team. What team do you need to put together to make sure that happens? Again, consider your business as launching the rocket to get someone on the moon, and that someone could be yourself, and you say, okay, I'm going to get to the moon, and that moon is your end goal. It could be your $10,000 a month. It could be your 15 Ferraris. It could be your 10,000 square foot mansion, your 14 homes. It doesn't matter. I know I'm just throwing it's kind of funny stuff out here, but I want you to dream big a little bit too. I want you to just go, this is what I want, right? Because if you just create, here's the thing though. If you create a business and it is only a job for you, then it's really not a business. It's certainly not a viable business, because if it's a job for you, you stop working, your income stops. You're free, anything that you've gained from that stops. So you need to create a business, and that business needs to run without you. So you need a team in place. So what does that team look like? Right? Do you need a sales team? Do you need, what kind of a min team do you need? Do you need a production team? Like, what is it that you need? Right? And trust me, very few people, and certainly NASA was not able, JFK did not make the rocket launch, man land on the moon all by himself. There were hundreds, probably thousands of people in play to make that happen. It's a huge goal. When you look at Apple or you look at Tesla, you look at those types of businesses, and yes, I know they're much bigger than you'll ever get. Maybe not. Maybe there's one or two of you out there that will not be only become the 5% club, but become part of the 1% club and get out there. But if you don't have that plan, Tesla and Elon Musk, and Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos at the beginning of their journey on this, they had the grand plan. They knew what they wanted, and then they got the team in place to make sure that would happen. And right, and if you don't have those, if that isn't part of your milestone, like, how many sales do I need? So here we go. We talk about this. So if we want to be at 10,000, and Maria kind of talked about this. So how much product or service do I need to be selling to earn that $10,000? Well, you got to figure out, well, what's it cost to deliver the service, right? Let's just do round numbers for argument's sake. So if you sell a product and it costs you, the COGS, the cost of goods sold, is 50%. Right? So which means that you're only, again, super round numbers here just to make it easy for you guys to understand. If it costs you $50 to make it and you sell it for $100, the cost of goods is half of that. So if you want to make $10,000, that means you got to sell $20,000 of product for you to then have that $10,000 of profit. Okay, obviously there's a lot more to go in on that. There's fixed costs, insurance, rent, all those fun things that you have to consider, but just round numbers. Then you start thinking, okay, do I need to sell 20,000? No, or do you need to sell $50,000 worth of product or service for you to allow you to bring home that $10,000? So if that's the case, if you need to sell $50,000 worth of product or service, how do you do that? What is your marketing plan? What is your rollout plan? Do you have a sales team like we talked about? If it's an online presence, what does that look like? What time of investment do you need to put into that? Is it man hours? Is it hiring a team to do that? If so, there's a ROI on that. And then you got to figure, well, for that ROI, where is that coming from? So you're just able to go back to where you are now. So even if you're only selling $5,000 right now, and the cost of goods is 50%, then you've got $2,500 to play with. Okay, so maybe you don't take any income for the first number of years. You just take that $2,500, invest it right back into the business. It's surprising how you could take that $2,500 and hire somebody else or hire a salespeople to help you to sell the product or service. And then all of a sudden, you're not at 5,000 anymore. You're at 10,000. You're still paying that person 2,500. Your cost of goods now is $5,000. And now you're back to a profit of $2,500. So that's how you can take, but if you don't have those milestones in place, you don't know when you can make those moves. I know that's a lot I threw out there, Maria. So maybe you can just help the listeners,
Yeah,
digest
kind of
that.
the short version, the non-business coach version, as it were, is, have that goal. Okay, you want your goal of X amount of income. Well, what do you need to do to reach that income? How much inventory do you need to sell? How much service do you need to provide to people? Figure out, how much does it actually cost me to do said service or sell said products, and so on and so forth, and create those milestones and be like, okay, well, I need milestone 100 right before I reach my goal is 20,000 20,000 in sales. Okay, well, what obviously you can't reach if you're not already there. You can't reach that 20,000 by tomorrow. What do you need to do day by day to reach those? Well, do you need to hire someone because you're not personally capable of reaching that volume by yourself? Okay, well, then you got to budget their costs into what you have into your expenses. Well, will you need to expand your product line? Will you need to expand your service capabilities and things like that, and create a time frame when you want to start selling those things? Like, okay, you only provide one service right now. Well, are there other avenues of things that you can sell to maybe get you to that goal even faster? So, for example, for us, I'm an accountant. Bookkeeping is kind of my main man, as it were. Well, bookkeeping to some people is really only one product, but I can add more things to that. Well, I can add different levels of bookkeeping. I can be a look over your shoulder. Here's how you do bookkeeping. Make sure that you've entered everything in right. Or I can be 100% hands-on. The owner of the business is 100% hands-off. And then I can do things somewhere in between. So that's kind of almost an unlimited amount of services I can give there. But not only bookkeeping, but I can also file taxes. Well, there's personal taxes, corporate taxes, payroll taxes, sales taxes, almost an unlimited amount of different taxes I can file as well. So look in your business and see, okay, right now I'm only selling this product, this service. Are there other things that I could maybe join in with it and even boost up my sales even faster and get to my goal of 10,000?
Yeah, but that was, almost as much as a mouthful as what I had there. Giving them ideas, Maria is absolutely right. Like what we're talking about here um, but isn't just the business as it is now. But the beauty about our podcast here, the 5% Club, and what we aim to help all you folks out there do is give you a step-by-step process to make sure that happens. Maria said a few things out there about adding services, looking at joint ventures and that kind of stuff. We will definitely touch on those. We'll go in depth on each of those to help you. Our goal again is to help you get into the 5% Club as quick as you can. But the takeaway that we want you to take away from today is that you've got to set that goal, and it needs to be, some people call it the big hairy goal, but it's not even that. It's what is it that you want from your business? Okay, you need to solidify that. Don't worry at this point how to get there or all the little things you're going to do to get there. I just want you to write it down, and that's part of what helps you get into the 5%. Write it down. I need you to take a few minutes, take some quiet time, some alone time, go somewhere, turn your phone off, do it on a piece of paper, get rid of the computer, whatever it is, Don't go to Tim Hortons or a coffee shop. Yes, this is Canadian here. We got
Canada.
Tim Hortons all over the place. Starbucks, wherever you are. I don't want you to go there. I want you to go into a room where you've got no distractions, no screens to look at, no phones, none of that. And I want you to take a few minutes, take as long as it takes. I want you to sit there and imagine, close your eyes if you need to. Imagine what it is that you want from the business. Not just like, oh, it would be nice to have this, or what I don't want is this. I don't want any of that. I want you to think hard. Listen, people here, I'm here to help you. And, here's the coach, giving you the nudge, giving you the what it takes. If you want to get there, this is what you need to do. Take the time, get it quiet, get a notepad in front of you, and I want you to write down exactly what you want from the business. That's your homework. I'm going to throw it out there. Sorry, folks. I know you might have been at school for a few weeks, few months, a few decades. Doesn't matter. Here's your homework. I need you to sit down and write as many point forms as you need to that say exactly what you want from your business. Because I tell you, if you don't do that, guess what? You will never, ever achieve it because you don't know what it is. So let's start there. What is it that you want from the business? How much revenue you want to take? Where do you want to live? What vehicle do you want to drive? Do you want a boat? Do you want ATVs? Whatever it is, what part of the country? What country are you living in? I want all of that written down, and so you can visualize that's what I want. And we're not going to go any further than that today. That's the takeaway I want you to do. That's your homework. If you want this to happen, if you want your business to be greater and bigger than you've ever wanted, ever dreamed it to be, this is your first step. If you don't have this step, you will never get there. And I'm here, Maria's here, we're here to help you along the way. So that's your homework. Boom. Put my foot down.
All right, Mr. Professor Business Coach, sir. Everyone heard it here. That's your assignment, is to figure out, kind of your vision. Where do you want to be? What do you want to have? How do you want to be living your life? And our goal here at the 5% Club is to get as many business owners as possible in the 5% Club. And by you writing down your goal, you've started to take that step to be in the 5% Club. And we'll help you kind of expand that, dig deeper on the milestones, on how you can reach those goals faster than you just doing it by yourself, flying by the seat of your pants. So thank you for listening to us, and we are excited to dig deep into more topics on how to build your business, how to kind of make it explode and be your dream business that you've always wanted.
100%, and I want you to keep moving forward. And I'm going to be, maybe a little tougher than I was in season 1, because hey, I want to help, and you need that push, you need that momentum, right? Whether you like it or not, the passiveness of the not knowing where you're going to go, any road will get you there kind of thing. Yes, I've said that 15 times today. Slap, slap, slap. It doesn't matter. The whole point is that you need to hear it. You need to know where you want to go, because if you don't, you will never, ever get there.
100%. And, take notes throughout our different episodes. And if you have any questions, any concerns, whether it be about your business specifically or maybe just business in general, we love to hear those questions, and we love to be able to answer them here, because kind of as my mother and other professors used to say while I was in school, if you have a question, 100% more than likely someone else in the class has the exact same question. So be that person to ask the questions, because then kind of the class that we have here listening to the podcast, you'll be able to help someone else with their issues as well. Or maybe someone else, if they ask a question, will be able to help your issues. So it's better to ask questions. There are no dumb questions.
All right, until next time, get that goal down, written down, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.